Everybody take a deep breath. It's a beautiful day out there, oh my gosh. I'm loving this weather. Good morning. Good morning. Small but mighty Africa, people are just running late. I don't know. I would have run late if I didn't have to be here. Okay, let's stand up. I don't know. I'm obviously still curious. Let's stand up and we're going to open the service with divine energy.
Okay.
Get the words up there, that'd be great. Oh, there we go, there we go. Divine energy flows through me, healing my spirit, body, and soul. Divine energy flows through me, cleansing my thoughts and making me whole. Calm and quiet, strong and clear, God's voice within me knows no fear. Divine energy flows through me, healing my spirit, body, and soul. Calm and quiet. Calm and quiet, strong and clear, God's voice within me knows no fear. Divine energy flows through me, healing my spirit, body, and soul. Divine energy flows through me, healing my spirit, body, and soul. Divine energy flows through me, cleansing my thoughts and making me whole. Calm and quiet, strong and clear, God's voice within me knows no fear. Divine energy flows through me, healing my spirit, body, and soul. Calm and quiet, strong and clear, God's voice within me knows no fear. Divine energy flows through me, healing my spirit, body, and soul. Healing my spirit, making me whole. Yay. Say good morning to your fellow neighbor. Give David a birthday hug. Today is his birthday. Fellow neighbor, say, how are you doing?
Well, come here, handsome man. Happy birthday, my dear. Oh, I can't forget. Oh, bye-bye.
Hi, how you doing?
Happy birthday. You're so welcome.
Hey, I'm Dalton. Very nice to meet you.
Weave us together, weave us together in unity and love. Weave us together, weave us together, together in love.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Unity Church on the Mountain. And happy Mother's Day to all the mothers.
Thank you.
Let us start with our opening statement. Let us say, there is
only one presence and one power in my life and the universe, God the good.
And let us take a moment to look at our Christ candle that's in a different position this morning. And let us just know that this Christ light represents the Christ in each and every one of us. And let's move on to our visioning and mission statements.
Centered in God, we inspire spiritual transformation, creating a world of love, peace, and prosperity. We are an inclusive spiritual community, inspiring,
have our children's blessing. And we don't have any little ones with us today, but we all know that we have that child in each and every one of us.
And we may have a couple of Sunday school youngins, yes.
Downstairs.
So
Oh, they're below.
Oh, they're below.
Think about that, the child energy
Okay, so let's,
radiating out over the floor.
and let's say, we love
We
you.
love you.
We bless you. We behold the Christ in you. We accept you just the way you are. Walk in beauty. You are divine.
We're going to go ahead and stand and sing another song. Yay. 100 Ways. We haven't done this in a while. A David Roth song. And it's a moving song. You want to move, move. There are at least 100 ways my good is coming to me. There are at least 100 ways my good is coming to me. There are at least 100 ways my good is coming to me. There are at least 100 ways my good is coming to me. At least 100 ways for me to receive. I embrace my good, and I do believe. There are at least 100 ways my good is coming to me. There are at least 100 ways my good is coming to me. There are at least 100 ways my good is coming to me. There are at least 100 ways my good is coming to me. At least 100 ways for me to believe. And countless blessings that I will receive. There are at least 100 ways my good is coming to me. There are at least 100 ways my good is coming to me. Hold on, we're gonna keep change. There are at least 100 ways my good is coming to me. There are at least 100 ways my good is coming to me. My good is coming to me. My good is coming to me. Woo! Now have a seat. That was awesome. Good energy.
And next we have our prayer box blessing. I got it out today. Without getting tongue-tied.
And you were tongue tied, that's okay too. So let's think about that 100 ways. All the 100 ways. Each one of us are sending blessings, prayers, divine energy into the prayer requests that are here in this box. The prayers have been written down. And remember that we're all sharing in that divine energy, that the prayers that we have within us, those prayers that are only written on our heart, are receiving that divine blessing, are receiving healing at the level that healing needs to take place, that are, as we are open, receiving all that divine good that God has already prepared for us. And in this awareness and understanding, we say thank you, and so it is. Amen.
Next we have our daily word. And today's daily word is motherly love. I bless all mothers in my prayers. Nurturing and caring for another living being is a sacred activity. Today, I take the opportunity to give thanks for all those who have shared unconditional love and acceptance with me. A mother can be anyone who takes on a role of caring for a child, whether that person is by a biological or adoptive parent, another relative, a teacher, or a friend. The most important aspect in being a mother is to love and care for a child unconditionally. Patience and compassion are the mainstays for these expressions of love in action. Just as caring for mothers hold loved ones in their arms, so too do I hold them in my prayers. Honor your father and mother. This is the first commandment with a promise, so that it may be well with you and you may live long on the earth. Ephesians chapter 6, verse 2 through 3. And now we come to our Lord's Prayer. I'm just asking you just take a moment to become still in the silence. And just take a slow, few deep breaths in. Let us say our Lord's Prayer. Our Father,
who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever.
Moving deeper into that place of connectedness. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Allow those words. I am God. Knowing that divine energy, that is the truth of who you are. Letting go. Letting go of all the roles. Even that role of mother in this moment. Because at that divine level, we are all one. We are one with our children. We are one with our mothers. We are one with our fathers. We are one. Breathe in that energy that is here. Know this energy. Realize in this moment you are both taking it in and you are breathing it out. Where two or more are gathered, there that divine energy is multiplied. That divine Christ energy is here now. Here now. It is always with us. in this time and in this place, in this now moment. Know the depth, know the brightness. Know I am. Know I am with you always. Let us move deeper into that awareness, that stillness. The I am. I am God in the silence, in the stillness of my own awareness. And as you gently bring yourself back to a certain level, bringing that I amness with you, open to that awareness of that at least 100 ways. What does that mean to you? To you. To that divine in you. That uncountable ways that your good is already prepared for you. And in our oneness and our awareness of that, let us know that for those that we love, hold them in that place. Knowing their good is pouring out on them as we support them in being open and willing to receive it. Let us reach out further to those that we don't know, because we are one. Just as we don't have a personal acquaintance with every cell in our body, we are one, and we hold with them. They're good, waiting, and willing to pour out upon them. Take a deep breath and move out further. Move out to those with whom there is anger and fear. Whether that anger and fear is your own experience or you know by their behavior that that is their experience. Let us hold our awareness of the divine in them. Let us know that. Let us know the truth of who we are as the human family. We are children. We are the expression. We are one with that divine energy. And so it is. Amen. I love the words to that song. There are at least 100 ways because, you know, sometimes when we think of good, we have kind of a limited ways of thinking what that good is. But then, if you had to sit down and write a list of 100, where might your minds go in this process? So, yeah, we are here. We're here celebrating Mother's Day and Divine Feminine. the divine feminine. So motherhood and mothering, whatever that means to each one of us. And that divine feminine, because this process, this divine feminine is in each one of us. Each one of us. And the facets have been out of balance. Now, you've got a folded handout in your booklet. So there's some things that I'm going to be doing and reading that is there for you. So you know that. So one of the things that's in there, it's actually on the back of it, are the facets that are listed as male and female. And as we go through this service, I want you to be thinking about those. So I'm not going to read them all out because you've got them there, and you look at them and you go, well, don't I have these? Don't I have these? And what kind of a human being can I be if I don't have all of these facets? And if some of these are out of balance. So when we look at the feminine and we look at the masculine traits, we can say, oh, okay, I can see this. I'm out of balance over here, or I'm out of balance over here. So that's just, yeah, you can probably say, well, this is a pretty limited list. Well, it is. I went online and I copied it. What can I say? But to be aware of so many of these traits. So in Greek mythology, Athena is commonly known as the goddess of wisdom. So we're talking about the Greeks. We're masculine folks out there, right? The goddess of wisdom is a female. She was also the goddess of, and I maybe took that out, the goddess of just war. Not just it is a war, but the idea of just war. So feminine wisdom, but also a very masculine perception of what that could possibly mean. And if anybody remembers their Greek mythology, Athena sprang full grown out of the head of Zeus, her father. So that wisdom coming forth from the masculine. So again, that whole balance, realizing that this masculine and feminine is like a dance. You think about it. When you're dancing, it's not a lot of fun to dance by yourself. But when you have a couple, it's in one leads and then the other leads. In Orthodox and Roman Catholic Christianity, I did not realize this until I was looking it up. Sophia is the Greek word for wisdom. And when I got looking this up, because at first I was thinking, well, Sophia is the goddess of wisdom. Well, not in Greek mythology, it's not. Sophia is the word for wisdom, which Athena then epitomized. However, there are many traditions that Sophia is seen as a goddess. So again, this whole idea of wisdom, the feminine being lifted up and looked at. I mean, how can anybody operate without wisdom? And so I've been there. So the big Orthodox cathedral, it's now a museum, but in Istanbul is the Hagia Sophia. So if you see it written out, you think it says Hagia, H-A-G-I-A, but it's the Hagia, that's how they pronounce it. Hagia Sophia, which means divine wisdom. Divine wisdom. And so in the Catholic and the Roman and Orthodox Catholic, Hagia Sophia, Holy Wisdom, is an expression of understanding for the second person of the Holy Trinity. Now think about that. We always think of the Holy Trinity, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. But in that tradition, that divine wisdom is thought of as that second. So the Son, we would say, that Christ, so if we don't use that particular terminology, but we would look at the Christ, so Father, the Christ, that Christ within us, that divine wisdom within us. So interesting how the idea of wisdom and wisdom being divine is throughout a lot of history. So what does the Bible say about wisdom and this? Is it feminine or is it masculine? So you have this in your little handout. I thought you might enjoy being able to refer to this at some point in time. So in the Bible, wisdom is always referred to as feminine. And remember, if it's written out in a Greek translation, so the word Sophia is a feminine word. So just knowing that. So in Proverbs chapter 3, verses 13 through 19, and so this is a whole letter. If you look at it, this is a father is writing a letter to his son and telling him, here's all the things that you need to do to be a good man and to live a good life and to have, not just to live the good life, but to experience good life. So in verse 13, he picks up, happy is the man that findeth wisdom, and the man that getteth understanding. For the merchandise of it is better than the merchandise of silver, and the gain thereof than fine gold. She is more precious than rubies, and all the things thou canst desire are not to be compared unto her. Length of days is in her right hand, and in her left hand riches and honor. Her ways are ways of pleasantness, and all her paths are peace. She is a tree of life to them that lay hold upon her, and happy is every one that retaineth her. So that she is a tree of life. So essential, a tree of life. By wisdom, the Lord laid the earth's foundations. By understanding, the divine set the heavens in place. And then moving on to another in Proverbs. So a lot of times on Mother's Day, we read Proverbs 31, which talks about a good woman and all of what that is. But the very first few verses in that says, a worthy woman who can find, for her price is far above rubies. Did we just see that? Wisdom, rubies. The heart of her husband trusts in her, and he shall have no lack of gain. And I really thought, even though a lot of the words are different in there, if you read 3 and you read 31, they're sort of mirror images of each other. So talking about, if you think in terms of the wife as being that divine feminine, this is what that divine feminine does for our lives. So, as I said, we've talked about those feminine traits, and now we're going to have an opportunity to hear about some women in the Bible. And before we move forward, since some of our folks are not here for a variety of reasons, Jackie, would you be willing to read one of our women? Give that to her. And a couple of them are reading too. So I want you to know some of our folks are not with us for health reasons. So holding that, so 2 were here. And so Dolores began having a lack of sensation in her foot at the end of Sunday school. And so Tammy has taken her to the emergency room where her husband will come and meet her. And then we have Joyce, who fully wanted to be here, and now she's at home, but she's having issues. And then we have wonderful people who we usually see their smiling faces here, but guess what? They've gone off to visit their mothers. I can't imagine. So we're going to have this opportunity to see how women of the Bible embody certain attributes. So again, thinking of these, yes, at this point in time, this will be all women, because when we do the 12 powers, we hook them up with the apostles, and all we see are men. So this time we get to see women and see what their attributes are. So Mary, if you will come forward. And because we are, there's not as many of us today, instead of standing up here in front, go back to where you're comfortable sitting. I am Mary, mother of Jesus. My parents, Anne and Joachim, brought me up spiritually. I was very young when I was engaged to Joseph, barely 13 years old. He was an older man who had been widowed. When the angel came and told me that I was to have a child conceived by the Holy Spirit, I accepted it. I felt honored to be chosen. Joseph stayed by me and took care of me. He was with me when Jesus was born. Jesus was a gentle little boy, easy to teach. He had so much love in his heart. I was very proud of him. Events later in Jesus' life were dreadful, almost more than I could bear. But even when Jesus was dying, he thought of me, and he asked his disciple John to take care of me. John did that all his life. A mother's heart can break. I know that because my heart has been broken for my son. For all mothers, my heart soars with joy. For all mothers, I weep. For all mothers, I look beyond into the future and I trust God. For all mothers, I pray to God that they be glorified. I, Mary, mother of Jesus, light the candle of faith.
Miriam, sister of Moses. I am Miriam, Moses' sister. My mother had to hide Moses in the bulrushes when he was a tiny baby to protect him. I stayed by the river and watched, and I saw Pharaoh's daughter when she discovered him. I ran up and offered to find a nursemaid to care for him, and then I went to get my own mother. She took care of Moses when Pharaoh's daughter adopted him. At some level, I was always there for Moses. I always believed in him. And when God called Moses to lead the children of Israel to the promised land, I was right there with him. I loved to sing and dance and kept the women of the group joyful by leading them in dancing and singing. Like my brother Moses, I am a strong and effective leader, and I think of myself as a spirit-filled woman of God. Once I got leprosy, but I was healed when Moses prayed for me. I represent the soul's struggle to rise above human lack and limitation, to trust in the ultimate good, and to go beyond personal ego into the promised land of wholeness and truth. I count it all joy. I am Miriam. I light the candle of joyfulness. Oh, number 2 is number 3.
I am Sarah, wife of Abraham. My husband and I were married many years, and I was childless. I knew that it was important for Abraham to have a child, and I suggested that he and my handmaiden, Hagar, have a child. It was very difficult for me to make such a suggestion, but I did what I thought was best for my husband, and Hagar did bear him a son. Years later, when I was 90 years old, God gave me my son Isaac. The gifts I had given to others came back to me when I experienced the joy of bearing a child and raising him. I have always done what I thought was right, and I acted with charity, even when it hurt. I, Sarah, light the candle of charity.
Queen Esther. I am a Jewish woman who was chosen to be crowned queen. King Xerxes banished Queen Vashti after she displeased him, and in a beauty contest I was chosen to become queen after Queen Vashti was banished. King Xerxes did not know of my Jewish background. My cousin Mordecai was an advisor to the king. Mordecai found out a plot in which Haman duped King Xerxes into signing an order for all Jews to be massacred. I had to help my people. I approached my husband, King Xerxes, uninvited, even though I could have been put to death for that. If I perish, I said. And I went to him. I told him what Haman had done. The king ordered Haman put to death for creating this plot. Although the order had been signed and could not be changed, the king gave Jews the right to defend themselves against the massacre. God used me and my cousin Mordecai to save the Jewish people, even under pagan rule. I lived out my life as Queen Esther, serving God with faithfulness, honor, and respect. I am Queen Esther. I light the candle of courage.
I am Ruth. I am a woman from Moab. I married Naomi's son, even though Jewish men were forbidden to marry outside their own tribe. We loved each other and we were happy for a time. Then my husband and his fathers and brothers died. So then my sister-in-law, Orth, and I were alone with Naomi. Naomi urged us to go back to our parents. Orpah did so, but I did not. I had married my husband and committed myself to his family, and I would not go back on that promise. To Naomi, I said these words, "Do not ask me to leave you, for I never will. Where you go, I will go. Where you live, I will live. Your people shall be my people, and your God shall be my God. Where you die, I will die and be buried. Only death itself shall part you from me." Later on, with Naomi's help, I met and married Boaz of the tribe of Judah. Our child, Obed, was the grandfather of David, who became the most beloved king of Israel. The message of my life is that love overcomes all challenges. I am Ruth. I like candle of love. There is nothing like love. Rachel?
I am Rachel, wife of Jacob. I met Jacob when I was caring for my father's sheep. He fell instantly in love with me, and he made a pact with my father. Jacob worked for my father for 7 years to earn the right to marry me. Then at the end of 7 years, he was tricked into marrying my sister Leah instead. According to our custom, the eldest daughter must marry before the younger sister is free to marry. Jacob had to work another 7 years to be allowed to marry also. Then he had 2 wives. For many years I was barren. Then my son Joseph was born, and finally my son Benjamin. Even though he had many other children, because of his love for me, Jacob's favorite child was our son Joseph. There were many disappointments in my life, but I was persistent in my faith and in my trust that God would give me children. I, Rachel, light the candle of persistence.
am Rebecca, wife of Isaac. I was drawing water at the well when a servant of Abraham approached me. Abraham had sent him to find a wife for Isaac, and he thought that I would be just fine. He gave me a gold ring and earrings and went to see my parents. They gave their permission, and I married Isaac, who was a wealthy man. Isaac and I had twins, Jacob and Esau. Jacob was my favorite and I helped Jacob trick Isaac into giving his birthright to him instead of his brother Esau, my firstborn. In one way, our plan worked out, but in another way, it did not, because Jacob had to leave, fearing for his life. I never saw him again. I lost my favorite son. I learned from my experience, which has given me strength. With God's help, I can handle whatever comes along. I am Rebecca. I light the candle of strength. Elizabeth?
I'm Elizabeth, mother of John the Baptist. All of our marriage, my husband, Zechariah, and I wanted children, but it was not to be. I was old and I had never born a child. When one day, my husband came home from the temple where he worked. He told me that an angel had appeared to him and that the angel told him I would conceive and bear a child. My husband and I were, and there's a word left out, but dumbfounded is the only adjective I can think of. But the angel was right. I conceived a child and gave birth to him 6 months before Jesus was born. When Mary told me that she was with child, I felt my baby leap in my womb. My child John was raised to serve God. He was born to be a harbinger for Jesus, to make the way ready for him. John and Jesus were cousins, and they often played together as children. In every way I have served God all my life, and I brought up my son to serve God. I, Elizabeth, light the candle of service.
Mary of Bethany, follower of Jesus. I've been so happy since I met Jesus and began to learn from him. He is the most wonderful teacher in the world. He is so gentle and kind and has so much wisdom. When he speaks, I sit at his feet and listen to every word with all my heart. Just to be near him is my greatest bliss. My sister Martha does not understand that I have to learn from him whenever I can. I must do. There is nothing more important to me than my spiritual life. I live it, I breathe it, I spend every moment I can, more and more. I do everything I can to help Jesus in his work and do everything I can to live by his teachings. I Mary of Bethany, light the candle of loyalty.
Martha?
Martha of Bethany, follower of Jesus. I'm very close to Jesus. I do what I can to help take care of him and the disciples. I prepare food for them and I open my home for them to stay when they are in the area. I see that they are comfortable and at ease. It is very important to me that their needs are met while they are in my house. I do all this willingly. It is my desire and my pleasure to serve Sometimes it is hard for me because others do not share in the work. My way of giving is through service. My ministry is serving others. I, Martha of Bethany, light the candle of hospitality.
Mary Magdalene.
I am Mary Magdalene. I loved Jesus. I followed him wherever he went, and I served him. I was there for him when it seemed that the entire world had turned against him. I took care of Jesus. I know how to make a man comfortable. I massaged his feet and anointed them with oil when he was hot and dusty. Once I wept and I dried his feet with my hair when he was not being honored. I traveled with Jesus and the disciples and prepared food for him. I listened when he needed to talk. I helped him have time alone by keeping others from crowding in. Jesus changed my life. He gave my life back to me. He prayed for me and healed me of 7 ills. Sometimes I say, he drove 7 demons out of me. Jesus purified me and accepted me and trusted me. He gave me back my self-esteem. There is nothing I would not do for Jesus of Nazareth. And he knew it too. Jesus appeared to me after his death. From Jesus, I learned the most difficult lesson of my life, non-resistance. When I saw Jesus being taken away by the soldiers, it was as if my life was over, and yet I had to accept the unacceptable. I think of myself as the bride of Jesus. I, Mary Magdalene, light the candle of commitment.
The Samaritan woman at the well. I was at the village well one day, drawing water, when Jesus approached me. He asked me for a drink of water, so I gave him some. We talked, and Jesus told me about living water, the stream of divine ideas that flow through the spiritually alive mind. Most Jews look down upon Samaritans, but Jesus was not that way. He did not see some people as less than others. He knew that Samaritans are very helpful and loving people, generous and considerate of others. Jesus had a special gift. He could see into people's hearts. He looked into my heart and saw that I had been deeply hurt in my relationships with men. I had done my best, but I did not have stable relationships. Did you get this to me on purpose? I understood the first one, but this one's okay. Jesus looked into my heart and told me that I could live on the living water of God's teachings, but they would never let me down. I am a very giving, generous person. Now I have the greatest gift I have ever given. I can tell people about Jesus of Nazareth. I, the Samaritan woman at the well, light the candle of generosity.
So the other thing that you will see in your handout is there are affirmations or blessings that were taken from each of these readings. So as you look through them, sometimes one will speak to you and sometimes another one will speak to you. So as you're looking for balance in your life, when you look at those traits on the back and go, oh, I need to be, kind of working on this one. You can look at those and say, is there one here that really speaks to that helps me move forward? And so, may the divine bless you and keep you. May the divine shine of wisdom upon you and bless you with peace. And so it is.
Yeah, I don't believe that there's any accidents, and I think every one of us that got to read this morning, it was meant for us personally, and hopefully you all got some love and hope out of that as well.
We're going to go ahead and stand and sing another song. We're going to sing I Am a Light. Thank you, Carol. Divine energy. It just knows what it's doing.
Remember, that was the second one we got.
I know, it was the first one. That was appropriate. Singing, dancing, enjoyable, entertaining. Yeah. All right, here we go. Because I am, you are, we are. I am a light. I am a light. I am a light in this world. I am a light. I am a light. I am a light in this world. And I shine. And I shine. And I shine so bright. And I shine. And I shine. And I shine so bright. You are. You are a light. You are a light. You are a light in this world. You are a light. You are a light. You are a light in this world. And you shine. And you shine. And you shine so bright. And you shine. And you shine. And you shine so bright. We are. We are a light. We are a light. We are a light in this world. We are a light. We are a light. We are a light in this world. And we shine. And we shine. And we shine so bright. And we shine. And we shine. And we shine so bright. We're going to go back to I am. I want you to feel that. I am a light. I am a light. I am a light in this world. I am a light. I am a light. I am a light in this world. And I shine. And I shine. And I shine so bright. And I shine. And I shine. And I shine so bright. And you are. Go ahead and have a seat. We're going to sing. I'm going to be in the background a little bit here. Dean is going to sing a song out of our red book, and I'm going to sing a little harmony. A little harmony.
Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. Be still, be still, be still. and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. Be still, be still, be still, and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. Be still, be still, be still.